Welcome to How to Yu-Gi Pots of Prosperity. Is it impactful?
Yes, I like it!
Okay, so now I will go over what you see on the screen. So it says there, list of pots, order of release. So as it says there, we'll go with the first thing which you can see there. 1, pot of greed. 2, pot of generosity. 3, pot of avarice. 4, pot of benevolence. 5, pot of duality. 6, pot of dichotomy. 7, pot of riches. 8, pot of acquisitiveness. 9, pot of desires. 11, pot of extravagance. No, 10, pot of extravagance. And 11, pot of prosperity. With that being said, I'm going to zoom in so you can see this more clearly. Let's zoom in and then we'll go to now discuss a bit more. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about one of the first cards, Pot of Greed. So let's go over and talk about Pot of Greed. And before we talk about Pot of Prosperity, which as you can see here, again, hopefully you've seen it in the zoom in picture I did earlier, I will talk about Pot of Greed and all the things you need to know about it. So let's go to Pot of Greed right now.
It's very strong.
Okay, so here in front of you, you can see the card Pot of Greed. So it's Pot of Greed. And we have here the fun fact. Pot of Greed, fun fact, Pot of Greed became a meme that has lasted the longest in the Yu-Gi-Oh community. What I've read is that there. And then we'll go to the next fun fact. Fun fact, since it's banned on the first ever Yu-Gi-Oh ban list, lots of variations of it have been made. Again, I'm going to go zoom.
You don't try to build a wall. You don't set out to build a wall. You don't say, I'm going to build the biggest, baddest, greatest wall that's ever been built. You don't start there. You say, I'm going to lay this brick as perfectly as a brick can be laid. There will not be one brick on the face of the earth that's going to be laid better than this brick that I'm going to lay in this next 10 minutes. And you do that every single day.
And soon you have a wall.
And soon you have a wall.
Oh my god. What the fuck is this?
Okay, and so here is the next card, Pot of Generosity. So let's read that fun fact as you can see there. Fun fact, this pot by the Yu-Gi-Oh community is considered the worst pot of all time. And the fun fact here, fun fact, there's only one archetype currently in Yu-Gi-Oh that can use this card. That archetype is Infernity.
They're spicy.
Okay, and here we have the next pot on our list, Pot of Benevolence. Okay, so let's read that fun fact there. So, fun fact is, on release was considered a bad card. However, its effect and versatile uses has proven to be useful in certain matchups. We have, I would consider this a card, a side deck staple for any grave-centric decks you face. Okay, so I'll zoom into that, in a few seconds or so, and then we'll move on to the next pot.
It's powerful.
Alrighty, we have the next pot, Pot of Duality. So let's go and read, the things about it. So fun fact, this card has been has set the bar for anti-meta decks, to the point it's become a staple for all anti-meta decks. And the next thing I'll read is from here. Fun fact, the first pot fusion to be released. Fusion materials are pot of greed plus pot of generosity equals pot of duality. Okay, I think you know the general thing I'm going to do now, so let's move on to the next pot.
What do you mean? I don't get any of this stuff.
Okay, and so we have the next pot that you can see in front of you, pot of dichotomy. So let's go and read that fun fact there. So, fun fact, this is the only pot that mentions the battle phase in its effect text. And we'll go here, fun fact, fusion materials, pot of avarice, plus pot of benevolence equals pot of dichotomy. And that's about it. Let's move on to the next pot.
Oh no! I don't understand!
What is this? You just blew my mind.
Okay, and we have the next pot, pot of acquisitiveness. So let's read the fun fact there. Fun fact, this is the only quick play spell card pot in Yu-Gi-Oh! That's it. Let's move on.
It's free real estate.
Okay, and there you have it. We have the next pot, pot of desires. So let's read the fun fact there. So fun fact, this card is considered to be pot of greed's replacement. You have the fun fact here. Fun fact, fusion materials, pot of greed plus pot of avarice equals pot of desires. Let's move on to the next pot.
Was that wrong?
Okay, and we have our next pot here, pot of extravagance. So let's read that fun fact there. Fun fact, this card appears in a lot of anti-meta decks, similar to pot of duality. It has found a home, however, as a ritual deck, draw card. Let's go to this fun fact here. So fusion materials, pot of greed plus pot of rituals equals pot of extravagance. Let's move on to our last pot, and this is the pot that has just come out recently, and the pot that we'll be going into more in depth over. Let's go.
Money, please!
And finally, we have the pot of the moment, the superstar pot of prosperity. That's right. So let's read its effect. So its effect is as follows. Banish 3 or 6 cards of your choice from your extra deck, face down. For the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, any damage your opponent takes is halved. Also excavate cards from the top of your deck equal to the number of cards banished. Add 1 excavated card to your hand. Place the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. You can only activate 1 pot of prosperity per turn. You cannot draw cards by card effects the turn you activate this card. So there we go. Looks pretty spicy, looks pretty good. I feel it's quite balanced, but let's go to the fun facts that's written right here. So, fun fact, so far this pot looks to be the most versatile, seemingly going in any deck. Time will tell where it belongs. And finally, the fun fact here. Fun fact, fusion materials, pot of generosity plus pot of riches equals, as you know, pot of prosperity. I didn't have the equal signs there, just wanted to make it a big reveal. So that's about it. So now I'm going to go into the typical questions that I've set up on pot and my overall conclusion when we will come to pot. So let's go to that topic. Okay, so we'll go into the questions that I have, that I've placed for pot and prosperity, which you're likely to have. So first of all, is pot of prosperity, is it impactful? Yes, my fellow students, is it impactful? So the first question I put here is, would this card enter the ban list in the near future? And my answer there is highly unlikely. Why I say this? Because this pot is relatively balanced, so I don't see it really hitting the ban list anytime soon, unless someone does something completely crazy, but it's balanced to high heaven, so that's not going to happen. So let's go with our next question that I put here. Can every deck use it? And I answer here, not really, since playstyle and extra deck staples need to be taken into account. And this is something that we need to mention about Pot of Prosperity, is with the way its effect is stated, yes, you have all this freedom and everything, but as I say here, extra deck staples need to be taken into account. That is very, very true. Okay, and we have the last question I have here that you may be asking about Pot of Prosperity. Will this card work the format in any way? And I answer here is, it will not. Once its initial hype will die down, its uses and utility will be seen, analyzed and taken into account. Similarity to the previous pots in restriction keeps the card in check. Indeed, my fellow students, the similarity, as I see here, of the previous pots in restriction keeps the card in check. So that's the answer to that question. Is it going to make waves? No. Is it going to enter the ban list? No. Is it going to get overhyped to high heaven by YouTubers? A resounding yes. Because it can go in any deck, because it's the first pot we've had in a long time that can go in any deck. Any meta deck, that is. I say that in air quotes, right? So, that's subjective, and, just putting in a Pot of Prosperity doesn't necessarily mean your deck will be better, okay? It needs to be taken with a pinch of salt. It needs to be taken into consideration the kind of deck that you have, that you are making. Just because it's the latest pot does not mean it's the latest best thing. Okay, with that being said, I'm going to throw a wild card here in the next few minutes as to the card that I think we could see happen in the future, come out in the future. So the next fusion of pots. Maybe it will happen, maybe it will not. But before that, obviously, I'll zoom into that. You'll get to read it, for a few minutes or so, and then we'll go to the next topic. So let's go into that now. Okay, and here it is. Here is the pot that I see coming in the future. Maybe in the future, maybe not too time soon. So I call it Pot of Prosperity. And so let's read its effect. Return 2 face-down cards from your banish pile to your deck to draw 1. You can only activate this effect once per turn. Fusion materials are Pot of Acquisitiveness plus Pot of Greed equals Pot of Prosperity. Now, this is a card I definitely see happening, maybe not with this name, but I definitely see a card, a pot in the future, maybe not next year, but in the following years, a pot coming that has this sort of effect. Reasons being is that this year we are seeing the release of Gizmex, and we're seeing Konami acknowledging that face down cards is a legitimate resource, as with one of the Gizmex low level monsters that has an effect to return one face down card back into your deck, whatever. It's being recognized officially as an official resource. This means that now cards that have effects that deal with face down cards should definitely be considered and should definitely be taken into account when building decks in the future or for trading, especially. So the spell card, for example, I believe is called Nova Burst. I can't remember its name. I'll definitely put it up later. and you'll see that there. But anyways, it's a normal spell that has the effect of you banish one monster on your field or hand that cannot be normal summoned to set face down, and you get to draw 2 cards. Now, this was a card that was considered bad. It came out last year. It's considered bad. It's not considered good. But let's say a card like this came out, in the near future, then face down cards wouldn't really be considered a bad thing. And I'm just going to then zoom in obviously to this so you can have a look at it, and then I'm going to talk a bit more about my naming sense for this new pot and why I called it Pot of Disparity. So let's move on to my naming sense for this new pot. Okay, so why the name disparity? Because disparity is the condition of being unequal, at times the difference being unfair. This meaning falls in line with face-down cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! And their application. And therein lies the reason why I called it disparity. Because face-down now cards for the longest time now, as the name of disparity suggests, have been unequal and have been unfair to the player who has those cards face down. For example, when you activate desires, there is a chance that you could banish one of your key cards, which could be a problem. And yes, desires, while it's a great replacement for a pot of greed, sometimes the luck is in your favor. Sometimes the Yu-Gi-Oh! Gods will not bless you, and you will mail your one-off that you need. So this is where this is where Pot of Disparity can come in and give you that help by returning 2 face-down cards back into your deck and allowing you to draw one. The returning of 2 is the Pot of Greed element of it, and you draw 1 is the element of the Pot of Acquisitveness. The fact that it's a normal spell as well is we're tying it back to the Pot of Greed element, and the fact that it doesn't say that you can't draw is as well we're going back paying homage to the broken nature of Pot of Greed. Now, with those restrictions that I've said, aside not being there is the reason why I didn't put it there. But it's one of the reasons why I didn't put it there. But leaving that aside, I believe we could see a card like this in the future. It definitely falls in line with Konami's style of making pots. Realizing that they're now realizing that face-down cards is a legitimate resource. So definitely expect to be seeing a card like this in the future. I think it will. I think it will happen. I am 90% sure we'll get a card like this. It might not be a pot card. It might be, any other card. It might be on a monster. Most likely, we would definitely see it in a gizmo card, in the future, something like that, as a legitimate resource. Who knows? But anyway, that's it. That's my take on Pot of Prosperity, and that is my take as well on the bonus section here on talking about a card I made up for this video to showcase to you like the sort of pot I would see in the future. And so my overall thoughts and conclusion about Pot of Prosperity: it is a good card. Pot of Prosperity is a good card. It's a good pot. Will it replace the other pots? Not really. Currently, I feel like Pot of Prosperity, Pot of Extravagance, and Pot of Desires are 3 of the best pots we have in the game. They're tied for first place for really good pots, and there are pot cards that are good they're good for the respective jobs that they do. For example, Pot of Desires is good if you play a lot of 3-offs in your deck and you don't mind losing some of them to get that quick fix, that quick, oh god! You know what I mean? Yeah. Then we have Pot of Extravagance. As I mentioned before, Pot of Extravagance is really good for those ritual decks. Those ritual decks, it's now become a ritual deck staple, as you can get to draw, 2 cards. Really nice. Really good. Really nice. And then we have our latest card, Pot of Prosperity. Now, Pot of Prosperity I feel it's still finding its place in the Yu-Gi-Oh community. Currently it's being used, in meta decks, whatever, and its price point is absolutely ridiculous. But leaving the price point of its ridiculousness aside, I feel it's still finding its place. It's still finding its footing, rather. It's still finding that special spot where it can cement itself as this kind of pot. So part of this prosperity is in flux at the moment. We don't know, the community doesn't know, where the best place it can be. Is it good in an anti-meta deck? Is it good in a combo deck? Is it good where is it going to be good? Where will it be helpful? Again, it can be hit with a lot of things. It's prone to ash, like the others. But where is its home? Where will it shine? We do not know. The community doesn't know. I do not know, as a Yu-Gi-Oh sensei. But we come to the end of this video. So, as I like to say, you are one step closer to becoming a Yu-Gi-Oh master. My fate, right, is in your hands. Hopefully you'll subscribe to this channel and wait a couple of minutes and and you'll see some other videos that appear on my channel. Hope to see you soon, and thank you.